Hi, this is Mike from Gear and Gadgets with Mike, and today we're going to look at how I set up my TV studio. So the first thing I'm going to go over is the equipment that I use. You can see that I have all my cameras set up there on the floor. I have my monitoring screen, and this is the Atem Extreme ISO SDI. And this one is a little different than some of the other ones in terms of its connections and what you can do with it. The keyboard here is very similar to all the other Atems. The big difference is in the ISO is that it can record all of the cameras simultaneously. So you have all of your camera feeds, and if you turn on ISO, it will record every feed separately. So what that means is that you can go back and you can edit them separately. I haven't had a lot of success using this because my discs, I've done it maybe 2 or 3 times and my discs have crashed just because I believe the reason was I was using ProRes, and that's a very large file to simultaneously record on my discs. However, I've had 0 problems recording the program feed onto the discs, and so the way that works is there's a couple of USB-C connections back here, and that's what I plug my hard disks into. And I run, if it's a really long show or whatever, I can hook both of them in, but I've never had a problem. You can see there's the recording feed, and it'll give you how much room is left on either of them. Usually we just, for a regular news show, we just use one of the discs. If it's a long like assembly or something like that, I might hook in both for redundancy. Anyway, so there's the Atem. Now the other big difference with this, besides recording in ISO, is the fact that it's an SDI connected machine, and that is more of an industry standard. Great thing about SDI, of course, is that they block in these connections, whereas SDI, somebody trips over a cable, they can pop out either on the Atem or on the camera itself. I do prefer the SDI. However, it does add some complications, and the complications are if you have SDI or HDMI connections on most things. Like this is HDMI, my laptop is HDMI. Can create some problems. You're going to need to buy some converters. So let's go ahead and take a look at the back of the machine. So here is a look at the back of the Atem, and it looks fairly similar to the smaller Atems. Of course, the big difference is these are all SDI connections. But let me go ahead and go down the line here and just show you. So that's the power. This is the Ethernet connection. So this is the Ethernet link to what I have this hooked into is an Ethernet hub. And this allows all of the machines that I have plugged into it to talk to each other. So basically what we're talking about is we're talking about the Atem being connected to the laptop, just so that they can talk to each other. So that helps a lot, having these hooked up. Now you can hook this directly in through one of these connections right into your laptop. That works too. However, you have multiple things. For example, you can actually buy from Blackmagic. There's distributors that you can buy where each camera plugs into the Ethernet port, and then you can control all of them through Ethernet. I'm not quite there yet, and actually I don't really need that. I like the way that I have set up. Now these connections are the USB-C connections. Now what you can use these for, a couple of things. One, for recording. You can also use it as a webcam out. So if you just want to take the webcam out straight into YouTube, you can totally do that. Right now, this is connected through the Ethernet, and the Ethernet is what sends the message to the laptop, and then the laptop hooks up to YouTube. So that's how I'm able to go live with this program, is through this connection here. Then you have 4 SDI outs, and the SDI outs are for things like monitoring. So you can, each one of those outs has the ability you can choose what feed is going out. You can do a clean feed, program feed, multi-view, whatever you want. So I have one of these hooked up to the multi-view, and then I have a talent monitor that's out in the main part of the studio, and then I have another talent monitor here that's attached to one of the cameras. Then these are all the ins. So these are all my camera ins here, except for that guy right there, and that guy right there comes in from my laptop I use VLC and I use you know, like a graphics engine. And what I'm able to do is I'm able to project and use one of my camera feeds to show the laptop feed. Mostly I use that for VLC, and I have that hooked up through a Stream Deck and Companion. That's on a separate video. So if you check out my video on how I set up my Stream Deck and Companion, that's how I'm able to assign buttons to the Stream Deck and then basically rotate videos in and out of the feed. Okay. Now further down the line, I have my headphone feed right here, which is fed into a headphone distributor, and then this guy is connected to my my soundboard, and then basically to the mixer, and that's what I'll look at next. Okay, so this is the mixer that I use, and I had just talked about the connection to the Atem, and that's the connection right there to mic 1. But first, let me go over, if you are using HDMI, what you have to have is you have to have converters. So really, basically, this is how it works. So this is an out, and the out goes into the converter, and then HDMI goes into my feed here because this monitor only has HDMI. So they work great, and I love the up-down cross converters, and also the bi-directional MIDI converters from Blackmagic. These work really well. They work on USB power, and you can see I have a USB power right here, and I just plug the power into those. It works great. It also allows me to take the these feeds out. So I have an extra monitor hooked up here. So that's the extra monitor that gives me 2 screens for the laptop. But then through the USB-C in my laptop, I have that converted to HDMI, and then the HDMI to the converter. The converter converts it into SDI, and then the SDI goes into one of my feeds. Okay, so the feed is mostly to show like VLC videos. That's another video completely, but check that one out, and I'll show, I go over how I hook up my Stream Deck with Companion, and I'm able to run videos as part of the news program. Anyway, back to the mixer. So I use lavalier mics, and really basically it hooks, one of the lavalier mics comes with this XLR connection that goes into the board. Then this goes into the wireless system, and then this ends up connecting to 2 lavalier mics for my newscasters on the desk. So that's how that hooks up, and then I have 2 of those in case I need to run another set of mics. Sorry, I'm going to show you my messy studio. I'm just opening up some equipment, but I have space for 2 more kids over there, so I can run 4 total mics. Now the connection between the mixer and the Atem happens like this. So here's the main left and right out, and that's XLR into a isolator. So basically this, it really helps with it's basically a ground lift box. And a ground lift box is if your electrical system is a little noisy, you get a little bit of a hum. This completely kills the hum. So I have my XLR going out into this, and then what I have here, I have an XLR dual left and right that converts into one mini plug. That's a 3.5 millimeter mini plug. Basically the same as an aux plug. And then it comes out of there, and then that's what goes into the mic 1 input. So that's receiving the total signal coming out of there. For sounds and things, I can actually hook up like a phone or a sound, thing into here, convert it into an XLR signal, or I can just run it in through the 1/4-inch plugs, and I can actually do like sounds and things like that. If you are doing like a radio style show and you wanted to put like, whatever sounds or music or whatever, if you wanted to pump that in, you can do that right through here. Cool thing is that the Atem mixes up all that video and audio, and then it all comes out on the program feed together. So in this messy soup of cables, what I have is I have my Atem. So the way that the Atem works is that I showed you already the signal outs. So the camera ins. So that's on the Atem, where the camera feeds come into the Atem and allow me to project the camera signals. So the problem is that there's only 4 outs, and the big difference between SDI and HDMI is the fact that HDMI sends signals both ways. So with the Atem Extreme ISO HDMI, you can go directly into your cameras and then that's it, you're done. They talk back and forth, the tally lights will come on, I'll show you those in a sec. But if you're going to use SDI, there's an issue, and that is that the camera feeds, so there's the camera, and you can see it has two SDI cables coming out of it. Let me get closer. And you can see one is in the in and one is in the out. So the out will go directly into the well and over to the Atem back in the studio. However, because there's only 4 outs from the Atem, what you have to do is you have to get this SDI distributor. Now the cool thing about this is you run one SDI in, and that comes directly from the Atem out. So the Atem out to the SDI distributor in, and then what you do is you run a cable from here to each one of your cameras so they can talk back and forth. Now you have to do that if you want the tally lights to work. So we'll come over here and you can see the in and out is connected in each one of these cameras, and you can see camera 1 is activated, so that's where the tally light comes into play. And also too, it also controls the focus on Blackmagic Studio cameras. So as long as you have it connected the way that I've connected it up, the out going to the Atem and then the in coming in through the SDI distributor, then you'll be able to use the switcher to make the tally lights go on. And that's super important if you are doing a news show, simply so the kids can know what camera to talk to. All right, so that's how I set up my Atem Extreme ISO SDI. If you have any questions, go ahead and comment below. I'll try to put in some links to some of the equipment that I have, including the Yamaha mixer, the Atem, the studio cameras that I use, SDI cables, things like that. And also too, is go ahead and check out some of my other videos on how to set up the companion program with Stream Deck that allows me to use things like VLC to plug in graphics and things and videos directly into the Atem. Okay, this has been Gear and Gadgets with Mike.